Y'all, listen. Luke is in the backstage right now. I got some stuff I got to cover, and then we're going to get right to it. I'm excited to have him. This will bring a completely new aspect to Drag and Drive events because this guy takes. We'll find out how many pictures he takes, but I bet it's 1,000 or more during the week. And the first issue of Sick the magazine, he wrote every word in it, so that's going to be a lot of fun to cover. But we got to get into it here. Let me jump into my notes here. Go into everything that we've got. Of course, every live stream that we're doing between now, today, and the end of Sick Week, and probably one or two after, is sponsored by Destroyer1320.com. Don't turn your Sick Week into Suck Week because your Mopar gets stolen. Basically, let me play this for you real quick. I put this together this morning. Destroyer is Eric.
Are you tired of worrying about your car when it's parked in the parking lot? You're not around it. You're at dinner. You're at the mall. You worried about it? Stop being worried about it, man. Go over to www.destroyer1320.com. Get yourself neutral release cover. If you pull this up and you don't see that, go over to Destroyer1320.com. Get yourself one of them. Do yourself a favor. Get the latest TDS OBD2 cover. That will stop people from cloning your key. Head over to www.destroyer1320.com now.
All right. Can't thank him enough for that. Obviously, Hawassi Tire and Lube took care of us, mounted up the drag radials. Tyler and Aaron are hauling those down in the Taco Time Fairmont. I've got a video that drops. The full video of that visit drops today, probably at 2 or 3 o'clock after we get off with Luke. And then the Taco Time Fairmont short dropped earlier. And then, guys, of course, we got to thank the folks that made the podcast room possible. Tom Stark, Tyler Petrum, Ryan Wing, Donovan Green, Matt Monroe, Dino Cardella, Big Bad Daddy, the Cowboy Yankee, John Murat. I love it. I've got to have more time so I can finish this thing out. Okay, enough of all of that stuff. Before we get into this, as we're bringing Mr. Luke on, and I'm going to ask how to say his last name the second he comes on, because I think it's Nieuwhof, but I don't want to mess it up. So, but like and share this right now so we can get it, so we can get as many people in here asking questions as possible. All right, you tired of hearing me talk? And you ready to do some talking?
Oh, good. Let's go.
Awesome.
And you got the pronunciation right, I have to say, too. So
nice.
Good effort. Yeah.
Nice. I want to start out with where you're from, because the spelling is definitely different than some redneck in Arkansas would have spelled Nieuwhof.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. Like my wife's last name is Smith, and I have this ridiculously hard to spell surname. But yeah, it's Dutch originally. My grandfather, he was from the Netherlands, and he moved to Australia after the war, and and then the family built from there. And so me myself, I'm from Perth, Australia. That's where most of my family is from.
Nice. So how long have you been in the States? Because you live in Tampa, right? Yeah,
living in Tampa. So lived here about 3 years now, I think. So yeah, got married about 3 years ago now. And yeah, been here ever since.
I see how you did the visa there. You married into the States. I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things with a long distance relationship.
Yeah.
Eventually you have to decide, which way to go. And we look, do I come over here? Does my wife move to Australia? But we decided to do the USA for a while, and maybe we'll do Australia in a few years. We'll see how it goes.
That's awesome. I would love to visit Australia. So you guys move there. I'll come visit you, hang out at your house. And I would think, as far as car culture, and this is not on topic at all, but like their car culture is amazing. But they're super strict on car stuff there, where, especially Florida and, Arkansas, they don't care. They're like, hey, has it got headlights and taillights? Perfect. Go on and drive around.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a pretty strong car culture in Australia regardless, but you're certainly a little bit more limited, in what you can do and keeping it registered. That's why I think, like, when you look at like the Street Machine Drag Challenge down there, like the fight there right now is for this first 6-second pass. But I think when you kind of looking at it down there, it has the same significance as the chase for the first 5 here, because realistically, you're not going to see a pro mod style vehicle on Australian roads. So there's only so far you can take the technology. So what we have is guys with pro mod levels of power, but putting them into cars that have a lot more factory elements than say Tom Bailey's or Dave Schroeder's cars.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I'm excited. I've been doing some 60-second spotlights on those cars. And so I'm trying to up my coverage trying to be better for the folks that are at home. And so I'm trying to learn about all these cars. And so I'm spending, 30 minutes or an hour on all of these cars trying to, especially the fastest ones, trying to learn and then take specific stuff and drop it into, a 60-second video. So it can hit the shorts. It can hit, Facebook reels. It can hit YouTube or Instagram reels and all that kind of stuff. So trying to keep as many people updated as possible. Guys, as we go through, I'll be dropping your comments from the chat onto the screen. If there's a specific question about something you want to ask, put your question marks in front of the question so it really calls out to me. So, dude, let's get into this. Where can people follow you? Like, Facebook, Instagram? Do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't. I honestly, I haven't. I have a personal Instagram that I barely post to. Shamefully, it's just at Luke Nieuwhof. I think I really need to get more on top of that. But I spend time updating all the sick stuff. So a lot of the coolest stuff that we'll post will be up on all those accounts. So maybe I do need to get more onto my own socials. But it's just, as you probably know, you have so many channels to check. At some point, you gotta say, well, maybe I don't need to worry about adding another one.
Well, and we're going to talk about how you ended up with Sick the Mag stuff in a few minutes, but we run all of the car stuff, and then I also have mountain bike stuff, and then I'm actually creating another YouTube channel that's dedicated to drag and drive content. So it's overwhelming. So I don't have a personal Michael Narks social media at all. It's all Narks Electric Customs because I don't have time. And we live and breathe cars anyway, so that's all you would see on my personal stuff.
There's only so many notifications a human being needs in a day,
I can't handle it, man. I can't handle it. So, everybody, of course, that's probably watching this knows you as the guy that is running around with a camera at any drag and drive. You attended every drag and drive for 2021, right?
Yeah, I think got to about the only one that we missed, I think, was Carolina Drag Cruise, which was actually, that's a small event, and I'm almost ashamed to admit we only sort of found out about it at a very late stage. But that's what's cool about Drag and Drive is actually we were realizing there's so many more events than we even thought. Like, you kind of think of the major ones. You obviously got Drag Week, you got Midwest Drags, you got Rocky Mountain, but you start finding about all these other Drag and Drive events that are just cropping up, just everywhere, all around the country. The scene is really exploding right now.
Yeah, I love it. There's a ton of drag weekends. One Guy's Garage does a drag weekend kind of in the Midwest, and then we host one in April that stays here, like Joplin and Sedalia, Missouri is what we're doing this year. That's for charity. I mean, just tons of crazy stuff, and I think we're going to see an insane explosion after Sick Week. I really do. But let's talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about how you got into photography. Because again, that's what I was saying. Everybody knows you for that, but I don't know. My question is there a moment you remember that pushed you towards automotive photography? Because we're friends on Facebook. And so there's some scenery shots, that you're really good at. And then you're really good at capturing the moment for automotive too. So how did you end up where you're at now?
Probably I think it just started back when digital cameras were kind of just new and interesting. I think I was 16 years old, and my dad brought home a digital camera that his work had. I'm like, can I take that? Can I take that to the drags? And because my parents, they both raced motorcycles in Australia for a long time, so I was always around the drags when I was a kid and stuff. And then talked him into letting me take his works camera to the track and took a few photos, and I got this photo of you call it pro mod here, we call it stock door slammer in Australia. But this pro mod was doing a big wheel stand at mid track, and none of the other photographers who were trackside got it, but I happened to get a photo. And that got published in a magazine. So that was my first published photo, and that was all really, cool at the time. And and then just sort of I don't know, it built from there. I was doing I used to play the old NHRA drag racing game on PC, and we had a little league that we ran with a message board, and we used to have virtual events, and then I would write up virtual event reports that we would then post online. And then someone at the local track said, hey, like, you can write about these guys doing it like in the video game. Like, do you want to just come down and help with the ones for real? So
Yeah.
a lot of things snowballed from there, and I was given some really good opportunities by some people back at the track in Perth at the time. And yeah, like everything just sort of, it snowballs, and then you don't realize how you got so far from where it all started.
Then suddenly you're in the middle of a magazine. You're the dude that wrote every word Tom said for the first issue.
I do have to correct Tom a little bit on that. Like, we obviously we had Philip on board, so he was giving us a lot of good content there. So
Nice.
certainly, I think we worked out that the first issue was like 40,000 words or something, just ridiculous. It was basically like the equivalent of like a small novel spread through a magazine. So that's what we're going for.
Is it weird that I keep those in the cellophane package that they came
in? No,
like
that is not weird at all. Like, we were doing a bit of a clean out of our house the other day, and my wife's like, what do you want to do with this? And it's the envelope that came in, and I'm like, I don't really want to throw it out, and I can't tell you why I don't want to throw it out. I just don't want to. And so we kept it.
So I've got like a lot of stuff, a lot of editing I do is at the dinner table, right? Just at the end of the table. Mm-hmm. And so I've got like a little table that kind of sits off to the side that keeps a bunch of crap on it. And they're both stacked up. Both issues or all 4 issues, I guess, as you'll say it, just kind of stacked up over there in the thing. So nobody messes with them. So I would imagine there's a lot of folks that are the same way about their issues.
Yeah, it was kind of an unexpected hit, was the envelopes. Like, we've seen people like carrying their copies around the track in the envelope, and they'll get it out for people to sign, and it goes back into the envelope. Like,
I think about that.
I think people really like using it as like little carry case. So like we honestly didn't expect it. We just thought like, these envelopes are cool, like, and they'll protect the magazine. But it's turned into a bit of a sleeper hit.
That's awesome. Yeah. And the the coloring of them, it's funny. I think one of them was bright gold, the one I got anyways. I don't know if it was like, hey, send us 5,000 packages. We don't care what color they are. We just need them. I don't know if it was like
well,
that.
Originally Tom wanted all orange ones, and they only had like, I think 1,000 orange ones or something. So we had to get some of the other colors. And like, it's just a case of getting what we can. Obviously, with everything right now, it's tough to get enough of everything. So we were taking whatever they could give us, basically.
That's great. So it's funny, as like everybody that got on early will all have these different ones, and then once they get it all sorted, everyone will come orange later or something.
Yep, that's right.
That'll be really cool. That's exciting. So when's the next issue dropped in? So we're probably coming up on one.
It's actually at the printers right now. So with the last one, we were just it went to print a little bit later than we would have liked, and that was purely because of there's like a worldwide paper shortage right now. So, but we're getting this one on track, and I think it's actually due to arrive at Tom's shop while we're away at Sick Week. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be out reasonably soon after Sick Week.
Yeah.
That won't be the Sick Week issue. The Sick Week issue itself will be out in April.
Yeah. What coverage do you have in the newest one then?
So the newest one is it's got a lot of features in it. Obviously, this is the first one we've done where we don't have like a couple of major events sort of as the base for it. So we've got I think 6 to 8 feature cars in there.
Yeah.
We do the coverage of Miles of Mayhem finally. The Canadian event. We were able to give that a bit of space finally, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Featuring road trip drag challenge from Australia. We feature Carolina Drag Cruise. So we were able to give a little bit of attention with the space that we had to some of those other events. And I think as we're more organized in the year to come, like, they'll be implemented as they go a lot closer to when they actually happen. But this one is it's 200 pages. It's got some just kick-ass stuff in it still.
That's awesome. 200 pages is a bunch. I don't know, like, heyday of Truckin' magazine, like, were they? I mean, they were probably 200 pages, but it was very thin. It was nothing like this magazine. That's that's pretty wild.
That's what we want to do. We wanted to, make a premium product, like nice paper, very minimal advertising, so that it's like, I say to people, like, it's a bit like if you go to an event like Drag Week or Midwest Drags or whichever one you go to, it's a little bit like you got to get the magazine because it's like a yearbook. It's like that's how you're gonna remember the event in future years. It's something you can show the kids. I went there, I saw this place. I remember that gas station.
This is Daddy's car right here.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't believe when we flipped through. So I immediately got it, immediately opened, and I was like flipping through trying to find the cart. And dude, you have both carts in one picture. I was like, this is the best day ever. And I'm sure you guys get that all the time. People thanking you for putting in the magazine and all that kind of stuff. I just couldn't believe you took pictures of our crap boxes.
Oh, it's kind of like, it's kind of funny. You hear so much about how print is dead and nobody wants print. And I think we even had we were doing like a Facebook advertising campaign as you do, and someone wrote up like, I don't know why you have this in print. It should be an e-magazine. I'm like, well, I think people, going by the numbers, I think people like having something in print. It's just, it's nice to be able to look through something that isn't a screen all the time. You can just kind of sit down, look at a few pages, flick through it, pick it up, put it down. It doesn't have to have all your attention at once. It's a much more, I don't know, it's just a nice analog experience in a very digital world.
That's exactly right. And the one thing about the magazine too, and this is just my experience, is that it's not something that, a lot of times when I would get a magazine, it's immediately read the articles. And then as magazines got smaller, it was advertisement. Oh, hey, we're going to put on this X part. And it's a whole article about how they put on that X part. And so there wasn't a ton of features. There wasn't a ton of that kind of stuff. It was like, guys, we got to sell ads to keep this magazine alive, instead of like what you guys are doing. It's in my opinion, right from the racer, and it's based on people. And of course, Drag and Drive is where, we're creating an entire channel and everything for Drag and Drive content, just because I love it. It's the future, in my opinion. There's going to be a lot of that, not just, I think 5 or 8 years ago, there was a lot of the streetcar cruise stuff that, you had to drive 20 miles. I think we'll see a lot of that extend. And so as we go through all this stuff, I think we're going to have a lot more Drag and Drive, a lot more weekend stuff, race on Saturday, race on Sunday again, to prove your car. And why wouldn't you want to do a Drag and Drive event? Like, we will make more passes the week of Sick Week than I will all year long. Literally, and we host 2 car events, 2 drag race events. Like, I'll make more passes that time than I will at those events. Why wouldn't you do something like this? Enjoy your car.
No, it's enjoying your car is precisely it. To me, it's such a I like I want to use the word value. I don't know if value is the right word or not, but I think there's so much value you can get from a good drag and drive car, because you don't just race it, bring it back. It's just yourself doing the racing. Like with Drag and Drive, you can have the whole family along for the week. You can take your car out for ice cream if you want at other times. You're not as limited. Like if you have a dragster, and I love dragsters, I would love to drive a dragster, but you can only use a dragster in a very specific situation. You can't take the family out in the dragster, and you can't take the dragster through the drive-through.
Right.
But I think what Drag and Drive offers is this chance, and I think it helps grow drag racing, because it takes what's otherwise quite a selfish pursuit, and turns into something that your whole family can enjoy. And people don't have endless money to spend on all their hobbies and things like that. So if you can justify it a little bit more and say, hey, this is something we can all enjoy together, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I love it. And again, like Rich Guido is my hero, him and Bill Armstrong, because they drive those cars everywhere, no trailer. Rich says he'll pass people going to the track, and they'll get to the track, he'll pass them on the track, and then he passes them home, and they're all sad. I'm like, why wouldn't you drive your car? Because you just get way more miles and way more time. And so, plus, your thought process is maybe a little different. Now you're gonna have fun in it all the time. So, all right, back to Sick Week stuff. Sorry. We talked just before this, we're riding in a Model A that's got a blown small block in it. We talked about maybe some struggles that'll come from that. What are you riding in for the week? Is it at least a cool minivan?
So I think this week we've actually got a few vehicles from Dodge we're going to get to ride in. So I think we've got a Hellcat Durango. I think we've got a Challenger or something like that. We've got a couple of cool cars coming from Dodge that we're going to have as media vehicles for the week. So certainly that's good, because often you'll turn up at the airport and take whatever you give them from Hertz, and that's your ride for the week. But this time we're
Nissan Sentra. Oh God.
Yeah, this time we'll have something a bit more on brand.
So then I need you to nudge Dodge to go ahead and do a Hellcat Pacifica or Town and Country. I need
The
that.
people want it, you know.
I'm telling you, man, I would love. How much fun would that thing be? All-wheel drive,
And
be a track hawk.
Talk about vehicles that you can do everything with. You could throw the family in it, you know,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you can take it to the drag strip. Wow, perfect.
Yeah, throw 2 families in that thing.
Yep.
So that kind of handles that. Are there cars or people that you're excited about, or a class that you're excited to be around?
I mean, I think like modified's going to be just so crazy intense. Like I expect to see multiple 6-second averages. Like, and I think the winner will probably be somewhere in. I'll be a little bit conservative and say like the 670s or 680s. I think, you know, but so hard. I mean, it could well be like quicker than that. Like, so that's cool. I mean, the sheer number of just really quick, insane cars is just, it's sort of blown our minds. You know, I'll look back through the entry list every so often, and I'll pick up a name that I missed the first guy. Like, oh, I had no idea they were coming, and like. It's pretty awesome to have that kind of.
I did that the other day with Royce Payton. I didn't even know he was, you know. So like a lot of the race week folks, I'm trying to definitely stay in touch with them and follow their stuff, you know. And then I saw Royce's deal on the cover shot that you guys are doing with the top bottom header, and I was like, I didn't even know he was coming. So then I'm jumping on trying to like do all the research for his car for the little spotlight I'm doing. That car is insanity. The day one of 2020, we raced against him because we were in an unlimited class. I was like, yep, that's my guy right there. I like that car.
Yeah, no, that thing is rad. I mean, that's what's, you know, another thing that's all super cool. I was trying to tell Wes Buck from Drag Illustrated this the other day. They'll be coming down to cover the event. And I'm like, the thing that's so different about this is that like if you go to an event where there's say 50 pro mods and there's a pro mod in the pro mod pits, like it's, you know, it's cool, but like it sort of blends into the crowd. But when you see some of these drag and drive cars, and especially ones like Royce's, like on a street, like you realize actually how extreme these vehicles are and how, you know, once you take them out of that normal environment that they're supposed to be in and put them somewhere they're just not supposed to be.
And dragging a trailer. You know, they're like, you got a little trailer behind them with tires mounted on it. Looks Mad Maxy and stuff. I'm excited about it. It's going to be fun. Blaine here's talking about stick shift class. He said, be ready for stuff to break. Yeah, that's 100%. Those cars, you know, Bill and I had that conversation about how just violent, fast stick shift cars are. You know, it's nothing and then everything you can throw at it instantly.
No, I mean, like, and stick shift's hot right now. Like, it seems to be when we were sort of putting the event together, like one of the most common questions is, oh, you're going to have a stick shift class. Like, so I think we're going to see that. I mean, you've already got it at the Midwest Drags. You've already got a Rocky Mountain Race Week. I guess maybe the next time Hot Rod reviews the rules for Drag Week, we may even see it included there. I don't know. I think that would be cool to have it included at that level as well, and to complete those, I guess, the grand slam of events that they have.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that'd be cool. That's so there'll be, so now with Sick Week, what's that? 5 events, 5 full Drag and Drive Week events throughout the year.
So we'll have obviously we'll have Sick Week, we will have Midwest Drags, Rocky Mountain Race Week 1 and 2, and Drag Week. So
that's pretty crazy.
That's, you know, your miles
anything
miles
you get into.
If you want to throw in that in terms of North American events, like it's
man.
Cool.
Yeah, I need a fast car and a big sponsor. I need somebody to write me a check to do all that all year and not be competitive. I don't need you to want to do it. Duck Hunter TV says, I think some of the best part is the drive between tracks. And that's 100% why Drag and Drive to me is fun. You know, being able to hang out with people you'd never, ever be able to walk up to at the track because, 6 second 2.0, that car, I mean, it's a pro mod. Like if he's racing at a pro mod event, like he don't have time to mess with that stuff. Now, he's at a checkpoint for say it's 10 or 15 minutes. You can walk around that car and maybe talk to Tom or talk to Dave and John a little bit, about their car. And it's just going to be fun to be out and about. And we ran into Cletus and the gang at a gas station one time, and it was cool to not see them with 70 people surrounding them with their cameras out, just be able to hang out and talk. So that's going to be fun. Let's how do you work into Sick the magazine? Let's walk people through that stuff, because I mean, we all know you take very good photos. We know you write well. We know you do all that stuff. But like, how do you how do you meet Tom? How do you get wrapped up in this whole thing?
Just sheer randomness of life, I guess. Like Tom needed a video guy because he wanted to sort of do the YouTube channel and stuff like that. He was like, hey, all these people are like, I put my car on their YouTube channels and it seems to go all right. So I was like, maybe I should do my own deal. So he was looking for someone up in Michigan, and I just happened to comment like, hey, if you're ever in Tampa, just let me know. Like, and that was all I commented. And then Tom sent me messages like, well, actually I'm going testing in Tampa. Like, do you want to come and we'll see how it goes, and we'll cover the testing or whatever. And we did, and and the videos went pretty well. I think Tom thought like testing was going to be this boring as shit video, and it's like, and then he got like 20,000 views, and he was really happy, and he's like, oh, that's cool, let's do another one.
That's great.
So it just kind of built from there. So doing his videos to start with, and then we were on a road trip, I think in April last year, and we were just talking about just magazines and stuff, and Tom mentioned he had some ideas on getting a drag and drive section into another magazine, and I was like, well, with the effort you'd be putting into that, why not just do your own like magazine, and then we just sort of got talking. So I've got a background. I had an Australian drag racing magazine as well, so had the background there, and it's just one of those things that, again, just it snowballs from initial conversations into
it's like a little bit of conversation. Then it's like, actually we can do that. And if we're going to do that, let's do this. And the one thing I like about it is there's no apologies made for this magazine. It's a really nice, it's more expensive than a typical magazine you would buy on the stands, but it's earned, and it's really not that much more expensive. It's, comes out 4 times a year. So
that's
$7.
A lot of supermarket magazines now are over $10. Like, and with a fraction of the content that we put into ours. So I think that was the goal. We were like, well, we charge what we have to charge to make the budget work, and we'll see where it goes. And unfortunately, the community really got behind it. And that's the thing. Like this is.
Then people kept like, hey, do you still have issue 1? Do you still have issue 2? Like, are there any more of those? I'd like to buy them.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do a reprint at some stage, I think.
That's great. That's a good problem to have, especially in these days. I wonder what print magazines are watching that and going, how are they doing this? How are they charging that much? How are they, and they're trying to figure out. So hopefully it'll be good. It'll be a little bit of a resurgence for us, at least us car guys in the magazine world, I mean, obviously, Sick the Mag's #1. We're that's what we're reading all the time.
No, I think definitely you're seeing more like niche publications come out, like where it is small teams of people, and that's the thing. Like we stay fairly light as an operation with only a few people just working hard on it. I think like any corporation, as it becomes bigger and you add costs and that sort of thing. We're lucky that we're still fairly light right now, so I think that helps.
And then, one more question about media stuff. Then we'll get into your stuff. I promise. So Tom's got his channel. There's also a Sick the Mag channel on YouTube. I mean, do you do videos for all that? Like, I know a lot of the Tom stuff lately is almost like a one take video, selfie stick out, which helps with editing. Obviously, it's kind of why the vlog style helps a bunch. But do you handle all that stuff for him too? Like, or is there a whole team of you guys?
The team has grown. So I was doing like a lot of the event stuff earlier last year. That was my stuff. And then Tom would do his own stuff back in the shop. Now he's just hired a guy up there, Brian, who's going to be doing some video stuff for him and a few other little bits and pieces for Sick, like some designing and stuff like that. So he's going to be helping out Tom in the future. So I think cool. As much as I enjoy doing those videos, the magazine sort of is now the priority and making that happen. But for Sick Week, the plan is that I'll be mainly dedicating myself to like the wrap up videos for each day. So I'll be getting back into the late night editing and all that again for Sick Week, which will be fun.
Oh yeah, we were on a live stream last night, and there were guys. Hot Rod Dave is one of the guys that was on there. We were kind of talking about the struggle of guys throughout the week. Is do you wait and turn out a really like for small YouTubers? Do you wait and turn out a high quality video when you get back home of each day and your stuff, or do you do it in the moment? And I love the punishment of being up till 2 or 3 in the morning at a hotel, fighting for Wi-Fi, trying to get a video to upload. And then, then you go to sleep for 3 hours, you get back up at 6 a.m. You're outside waiting on people to start their cars and all that kind of stuff. I love that side of it. And a lot of those guys
Wi-Fi,
are like,
the Wi-Fi fight is real.
Yes. Yeah. Suddenly there's, 10 people on laptops trying to edit videos and upload to YouTube at the same time. It's pretty brutal. I got to where I was setting timers. Like if my computer said 30 minutes to upload, I would set a timer for like 28 minutes and I'd sleep for that 28 minutes and then wake up and hit it. So 815 LSX says do it in the moment. I think that's probably the right answer, for me anyways. We want to be out early and bring people along with us, instead of showing them what we did.
Yeah, it's definitely like just like people who race, I guess on the media side of it, there's a little bit of like, you have to plan your day and work out, what shots you need. And as time goes on, you get more efficient at doing it a little bit quicker. So, but it helps.
Yeah. I got back home. We had like 18 hours of sleep by the end of day 4, I think. And, I didn't remember days. And so I would get back home and watch my own videos to figure out what we had done. It's pretty wild. I hope people understand the stress that goes along with, and just the exhaustion, to capture all that stuff. Our plan is to go live as often as we can, especially from the road, capturing checkpoints and stuff. And then, drop 20 shorts, YouTube shorts or Instagram reels a day, every day, just something quick, cool cars driving by us. I can snag those as they're coming, grab those, throw those up. And with this event be a lot more in the moment, which I think we're going to see a lot of too, from like Adam Dorey and Chad Reynolds being in the pits and at the starting line and kind of around for the live stream too. So I think this whole event is going to be fun. You guys have done a great job at figuring out what everybody's going to want. And the Drag Illustrated guys being there, I think that's going to add a whole nother level of legitimacy to some of the drag and drive events. If you weren't on the Race Week page, Rocky Mountain Race Week page, you didn't get the update of your times per class. So like Drag Illustrated being there, I think that's going to help push that as well.
Absolutely. Like, and it's cool to have that kind of attention coming in for the scene. I think it's long overdue. Just the amount of cool stories that are out there to be covered. I mean, I just think it's such a neat deal that they're going to be able to be at SickWeek.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have another few minutes? I know you're so busy. Okay. So let's talk about you for a minute. I mean, dang, we've been talking about your lead up, Sick Mag, all that kind of stuff. Well, tell us a little bit. Have you owned some cool cars in the past? You and I were kind of messaging back and forth, and you're like, man, I don't really have a project car right now. Kind of tell us what you've had. Like, obviously, if your parents were racers, you probably had to have some kind of cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like back in the day when I was, 18, 19, and you want the fast car, I was sort of in the Fast and the Furious generation, where
nice.
that came out when I was like 16. So,
dude, me and you were about the same age, even though I look way older than you.
No, like I think so. That was a big influence, and I think the same. A lot of people my age, and especially in Australia, because we had access to all the Japanese imports, because it's all right-hand drive. Like that was the scene to be in. So I had a Toyota Sora. It's called. It's basically a like the
four-door Supra.
Lexus S. No, it's a 2-door actually. It's like a Lexus SC 400 here. I think they are, but it's it wasn't released. It had the option for the V8 motor, but it also had a 1JZ motor you could get with it. So 2.5 liter straight 6 twin turbo. And I mean, for a car that was like, it was like a Grand Tourism, very luxurious inside, but like had, I think it ran, I want to say like 14 flat, like stock as a rock. So that's, for a car that was built in 1991, it was like, and for a 19-year-old, that's plenty enough to get into trouble as well. But like, so did the usual sort of bolt-on mods to that, and I think 12 5s or something that ran.
That's
race
awesome.
That we had like a bracket class at the local track, so I'd race in the bracket class and that sort of thing. And then after that, had a Nissan Stagia after that, which was another Japanese import. So that's basically like the Nissan Skyline platform, but like a wagon body. So they're very,
man.
very boxy. They're a bit of an acquired taste, quite boxy shape. But
Yes.
again, like just a kind of a cool car, like to, go and camp in it, and took it to the track on a few occasions. But that was a manual, so it wasn't so good on the drag strip, or at least I felt bad for it every time it was at the drag strip. So I only took it there a few times just to see what it'd do, and
Nice.
otherwise just kept it nice. Yeah.
That's cool, man. I think that would be the cool part about going over there is just seeing all of the cars that we have zero access to here in the States.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I think the culture here, it's interesting. Like kind of like some of the skepticism around Japanese cars and the 4-cylinder, 6-cylinders. But I think a lot of that is that like you guys never got like the really fast stuff here.
Yeah,
Like, we were getting like GTRs and Supras and all manner of Japanese imports that you'd never even heard of, but they threw these crazy engines into over there for some reason. But they were coming in cheap as anything to Australia for a while. So you had like really easy horsepower, real cheap. Like and now a lot of those cars are going up in value again because so many of them got sent out. And of course the laws here around, I think it's the 25-year import rule. So a lot of them are becoming eligible to bring in here now. So the values are just going nuts on Supras and things like that right now.
Like a Mark IV Supra here, those cars are insane right now, and it's mainly because if a kid had it back then, they destroyed it.
That's right.
Rough, and that's a race car now. But you come across a nice example, like one of my neighbors has one. He's single turbo swapped, and it's manual, and all. It's super nice wheels. I mean, that car is $70,000-$80,000.
And it's just wild. It's a story you see repeated through every generation of car owners, is that the cars that were the hero cars when they were like young and they couldn't afford, all of a sudden they hit an age where they have disposable income. And they're like, well, I'm going to get that car.
Yeah, I've got equity in my house. I need a Supra. I need a GTR. Yeah.
And that's why you see like, there's like, I guess like a 20-year or 30-year point where like I think it's happening with like the third gens and stuff right now, is that they seem to be getting real hot all of a sudden. I think again because a lot of people grew up and that was the hero car at the time, and they're like, well, dang, I'm gonna have that car now.
And we talked with a lot of guys in the past, and like the technology that comes along with Fox body stuff was always the race car. But, now they're like all the G body stuff, all the third gen stuff, a lot of guys, and then they start building really nice cars because they had a shitty one in high school. And so now they're like, I want a nice one, and I want to drive like my 2015 Camaro SS, so like, let's mix that, so there's a local guy that's putting one together that has full, pro touring suspension underneath the IROC. That's a yellow IROC. I mean, it's going to be one of the nicest cars probably in the country. And it's because the guy had one in high school. That was a crap box, he's like, but I want to build this. So it's all Hotchkiss, all, big wheels, big brakes, LT powered, all that kind of stuff. So,
and it's cool. And it happens like every generation, almost like with clockwork. And that's why I think like, there's always, it's good to be an optimist in life. I think a lot of people say, like, oh, I can't find the classic car that I liked or whatever. And yes, those classic cars are getting harder and harder to find, but it seems like this new group of cars comes up every so often, and you'll see it happen again. I'm sure like the unloved kind of like, 90s Mustangs and stuff now that people aren't sort of like that keen on, they'll get hot again. Like, because that's what people will have and they'll use it.
Yeah, the SN95 stuff that everybody hated. Oh my God, I can't believe you're getting away from a 5-liter, and it, it's 2-valve stuff, and they're like, hey, and that's a good car to build. SN, then the one after that, the S150 or whatever it was. Yeah, cars coming around a bunch. S197, sorry. All right, let's comments here. Yep. David says SC300 to the front. Yeah,
it's pretty David Williams right there, I'm going to guess.
Oh, cool. All right, so let's talk camera stuff. And this, I want people to stay around because, we had this conversation, like we may need to stay on cars, but there's a lot of folks that'll be watching this later that are going to be into taking pictures and video of their car. So, you talked earlier about the camera your dad brought home. Like what's your progression into and what you shoot with now?
So yeah, like that's literally the camera like I started shooting with took like floppy disks. Like that was the memory,
Oh my God,
so
dude.
like it could take a memory stick, but memory sticks are expensive. Like and like, it's funny, like everything is actually like all cheaper in real. Like it was like $100 for a memory stick that was like 32 megabytes or something back then.
Yeah, you're taking 100 pictures at the most.
Yeah, now you can go to like a Best Buy and there's a little tiny SD card that's going to be like 64 gig and it costs you hardly anything.
What's up, Ken? That's dude. I can't wait till all these UK folks get here. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's going to be a party at SickWeek, that's for sure. It's really neat. It's neat to have that international aspect coming back to it. That's one of my memories about the first drag week that I went to, was like how international it actually was. Like there were flags flying in the grandstands for the different countries, and I thought that was like so cool. People coming from around the world for that adventure, and as obviously as international travel is like coming back now, it's so cool to see that all returning to it. Like really.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of folks that are in other countries that are like, I'm going somewhere else I want to get out of here for a minute, and it'll be the same where they get there, but like except for SickWeek.
Yep, that's right.
That's cool. So anyway, sorry, progression on the camera stuff.
Oh, it just like with car stuff, you just move to the next, the biggest, the greatest as you go. Like trying to like keep as cameras are a bit like cars, like you can let your budget run out of control real quick. And sometimes you have to choose between the one that'll just do the job and pay the bills versus the one like that's ridiculously expensive. So that's always been my philosophy with camera equipment, is not trying to go too crazy and buying the very top tier, trying to find something that's nice, does the job around the middle, and pays the bills.
Sets you apart a little bit better. So what do you shoot with now?
Shooting with a Sony A7 Mark III right now. So nice. Made the switch to Sony from Canon a couple of years ago, and it's good equipment. Like does the job. Like at the end of the day, it's just a tool. It pays the bills.
Right. You kind of have to have the eye for that. Like you've got to be able to see a shot, and then because there's only so much editing you can do to one to make it right. So what do you edit with? Are you a Adobe guy? Or
editing just in Lightroom. So again, you try and get as much right in the camera as possible, because you don't want to spend. I heard you say at the start of the show, like, is it like 1,000 photos that we take? Well, you might do 1,000 in the morning. There's a good chance, like by the end of the week, you've got 6,000 or 7,000 photos at a minimum to go through. So in that case, he's looking for basically like trying to keep it as efficient as possible.
That's with recording video. I've learned I'm not just going to record everything, because I don't have time to. I don't have time to go back through and rewatch 4 hours of video to get 6 minutes out of it. I need to kind of have an idea of what we're shooting. Danny asked, Danny Fatka is actually the reason we're doing 6 pods of Sick Week. He was the reason we did 12 pods of Christmas. He came up with that idea, and I love it. And we're going to do it for every event that I can come up with. I don't know what I'm going to do for Drag Week. I don't know how I'm going to word that, but he said, "What's the best camera for a beginner?" I guess it would probably just depend on what you want to do with it. Like are you taking pictures for fun, or are you taking pictures for a living?
It does absolutely depend on like what your end goal is. Like you would be amazed at what a good photographer can do with just an iPhone. So it's not necessarily always about the equipment, but like I think if you do want to get into photography more seriously, then you're looking at like your SLR cameras and stuff like that. And right now I would say like there's so much secondhand camera gear available, especially in like the traditional DSLR area, as people are like upgrading to mirrorless systems and stuff. There's so much stuff cheap secondhand now that you can get. Like jump on Facebook Marketplace and just lowball some guys. Do that thing we all hate. But
figure out what your budget is and ask about stuff that's double what that budget is.
You can find some really good stuff secondhand, because there are a lot of people who will go and buy the latest and greatest things and then decide, oh, actually I don't really like this, like any hobby,
or they realize still that didn't help their pictures be better. That's
right. That's right. It's kind of like fitness equipment or any of those other things that people try for a while in the hopes of being better, and then like maybe it's not for me, and they move on.
And then Ken's saying, I'm looking forward to using my first gimbal off of eBay and a Galaxy Note 10 I bought. I should have,
honestly, like the quality now from phones especially for video is just insane. Like, and I sometimes wonder why I'm even bothering like with a big bulky camera. Like The phone is just so convenient. And just it blows my mind how rapidly the technology has come along there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that works out, like in the next, say, 5 or 8 years, as phones develop and change and all that kind of stuff. Like, will we see, some kind of adapter that you could put on your phone to create what you're doing with your big camera?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see something like that.
Yeah, there's apps that you can use your phone that you set up within your phone, makes it look like a DSLR, like for live streams and things like that. So I don't know, it's great. I don't want to keep you forever. I know you guys are busy.
Oh, good.
What haven't we talked about that we need to?
Oh, I guess Sick Week.
Dude, I'm so ready.
we can talk Sick Week all you want.
Yeah, let's do it. So Tom, I think is headed down, or he's down there now, right?
He's on his way, like literally right now. He called up just before he was stopped to wash the salt off his truck somewhere. So they're dealing with all that northern stuff coming down to the land of sunshine down here.
Yeah.
So he's on his way, and actually, I'm seeing lots of posts on Facebook at the moment who are on their way now across the. You got Rich coming down from Canada, of course.
Yeah.
Like, so all these cool journeys unfolding before the events even started. Like, you can sense like the excitement is it's starting to build, and it's cool, really cool.
That's why I'm doing this right here, because I'm hoping that we can get in, kind of get in the rhythm, and my face will be in front of folks, and as we're walking through the pits, it allows me to walk up to people that would typically not let me talk to them with a cameraman. They'll let us. They'll kind of want to tell their story of their car and things like that. Guys have motors out. David Williams, who I hope is listening right now, he's building a completely new hot side for his SC300 or 400 that's turbo LS. Like, he pulled the engine trans, refreshed everything, building an all new hot side. I'm like, dude, are you crazy? Like, but I think he lives an hour and a half south of Tampa. And so he's like, man, it's easy. I don't have the travel time. I'm like, oh, I can't imagine having the motor out right now. I'd be so stressed out. So, but I think there's a few people still like that. Do you think we'll have some attrition as we get right there to the end where folks are dropping? And then if so, do you think people are still coming anyways? There was a guy with a gold Chevelle or Nova the other day that posted, he's like, I'm coming. I hope somebody falls out.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it'll be the case. Like, and I think the way we've been cutting through the wait list is just about, we've been going through them at a fair cracking pace. So, I think it's only natural that we'll get a few more cancellations this week from people who are taking it right to the line. But hopefully, I hope everyone who's just stressing and smashing out right now can make it, and because it's going to be just a sick event.
Oh, it's going to be crazy. So David here, that it must be him. He said it's back together, and he's building a cold side, not a hot side. My apologies. Not as hard. I mean, to build the cold side. He said it's back together. It should be running by dinner time. I mean, literally posted a picture yesterday or this morning on Facebook that the motor was out. So
I'm sure he'll test it with a good burnout somewhere.
Yeah. So he was a little sad about the no trailer burnout deal, just because he said his goal is like a 3/4 mile long trailer.
We were sad about the no trailer burnout deal. Like, and that was honestly it turned into one of those things that was just becoming an unsolvable headache. And we're on about our third different option for what we were going to try. And in the end, we just had to say it's not in the cards for this year.
Let us get a public road here that guys can drag a trailer and do long rolling burnouts. The video that I've got that's dropping later today is the Taco Time Fairmont. They are building, a specific trailer, drag and drive trailer that's got airbags and trailer brakes. And so the reason I say airbags is it's awesome. It's like 4 linked parallel bars, and it's this crazy thing. But the trailer brakes, are adjustable on the little deal on the dash. And so he's like, we'll be able to kind of drag the brakes on the trailer while doing the burnout to hopefully keep the car straight. I mean, I love the thought process that goes into that.
Yeah, I like when people's engineering skills start to go into just crazier and crazier endeavors. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly right. Dave said there'll be plenty of unsanctioned tire destruction from the Lexus.
Sick the magazine does not endorse trailer burnouts.
That's right.
And we will publish photos of the offenders.
That's the best way to put it. Let's see. Danny says the weather may have a play in it. Storm front coming up from the south. We're not talking about any of that bad stuff.
Yeah.
There's
I find the long range forecast does look pretty good. Like touch wood, you hate gazing into the crystal ball too far with weather, but looking like around like 70 degrees each day. Like some days sunny, some days overcast. But I think it's actually going to be like a really just nice week. Not too hot, like cool enough that everything's going to run fast because you're at sea level, of course, as well for most of the tracks. So everything should be freaking fast. Like it's going to be cool.
So being that you have the insight for Tom stuff, is he turning the car up? Like, are we going to see some 560s? I mean, like the car's been 577, right, or something like that.
Honestly, I don't think he's going to be shooting for like 60s and 70s. I think if he could run 599 every day, he'd be extremely happy. So I know his plan is basically to do some testing this week. Try and get it to the point where at least the incrementals are showing sort of, that it'll be well into the fives. And then he'll be happy and probably throw it in the trailer until the event starts. I think he'd love to. The 5 second average and running fives every day. Those are the last kind of huge, the last outright goals that we're probably likely to see taken. So. And I think the competition is going to get pretty hot for that this year because you got Tom back in the mix. Not to mention, I watched Larry Larson's YouTube videos the other day. He was hinting at possibly being at Midwest Drags. So I think, and we were supposed to have Jeff Lutz coming. Unfortunately, he's had some changes with filming, which kind of sucks because again, that was another guy who was really going to be
another contender,
pushing at the top, and that was we were kind of pretty bummed when we got the news from Jeff. But that what do you do? Like work comes first with a lot of this stuff. So
and that work pays for hot rod stuff. So you got to kind of do that. Yeah,
that's right.
It's going to be crazy. I don't know. I don't even know how you prepare yourself and the car to run those kind of times for the entire week. The cart is slow. The car we're bringing is relatively slow. I can't imagine the process. Like, okay, I'm putting a 590 tune up in the car, and it goes down, and that's going to be the biggest thing I think for if you're an aspiring YouTuber trying to get your name out there. Like, you better be ready because if he goes up and runs like a 597, he's changing it over and moving on. Like he's not going to go back up and try for a 592 unless competition is really hot and heavy.
No, that's right. If the thing comes out and runs a 5 anything, like he won't be like hanging around to run 100th or 200th quicker. Like that's and that's where the strategy of drag and drive comes into it. Like there comes a point in every day where you've got to say, okay, this is about as fast as it's going to go. Could we go quicker? Possibly, but it's the risk. It's the risk you're taking. You're losing hours, on the road, which could help you later on if you have an issue, or even just the fatigue that people have. Like the human element of drag and drive is way more important than people think, and that's like Tom I think had this reputation as kind of like this kind of a gruff guy, but you have to think about like what he and what every other drag and driver is doing during the week and the kind of toll that's taking on you. And you've got to mentally concentrate on driving a 5 second car safely after 5 days of driving 1,000 miles and
sleeping 2.5 3 hours, not drinking enough water, drinking too much beer,
So sometimes you do have to focus and just think about the task at hand. And I think staying for any drag and drive, just staying calm and mentally focused, not like throwing your tools around if if something goes wrong. You just have to really calmly think through problems and solve them.
Carl's got a good question. What kind of advertising and promoting are you guys doing outside of Facebook? I mean,
not a whole lot, if I'm honest.
Really? Nice.
We're doing a lot of most of our campaigns are on social, so we've done a little bit of stuff with the tracks and stuff in the lead up, just getting them to do announcements, things like that. But otherwise, really focusing on the social media angle, just because it's very easy to reach your audience now with the advertising options that are available to you on social media.
And
that's where we're going.
And you can dig deep. I mean, you can, people that are specific drag and drop, people that are just drag racers, people that are just into cars that live in a certain area. I mean, like, yeah, that's been the funnest part of learning this side of stuff is how to, where's your money best spent. And we don't need you
Hmm.
guys spending a ton of money on advertising. So us little guys got to share it, got to comment on those posts, got to bug your friends, tag your friends, all that kind of stuff in those posts, because like we need you guys spending money on all the other stuff that comes along with it.
Hmm.
Will you tell us what the orange helmets are for, or is that like a secret? That's a surprise.
No, it's not. It's not a surprise. I think a few people have put two and two together that basically there's enough helmets to cover every class. So they'll be for our class winners. They're
That's
getting
awesome.
painted and they're getting some graphics applied to them and
That's
stuff
cool.
like that. So yeah, I think they'll look pretty cool. I think all lined
Yeah.
up. So yeah, Race Quip came to the party and helped us out with a
Yeah.
few helmets, which is really cool. So yeah, that's gonna be a fun presentation night. I'm from an event organization point of view. I don't know how we have Jenny, our event manager, and Morgan doing some work on the presentation. I don't know how they're gonna manage it. I'm like, there's so much going on. It's going to be like
Yes.
fun and a party and definitely worth everybody, coming along and attending and having a blast. But I'm like, we're going to
Yeah.
be there all night with how much shit we've got to give away. Like,
Well, yeah,
there's so much. There is
Morgan
so much
was
stuff. Like, so many people
Yeah.
come to the party, like from the community, just with
It's
stuff
gonna
for the
be
raffle. Not to mention all the the trophies we're giving away.
Yeah.
And yeah. So just I don't know, bring a chair, bring some drinks, just
And
settle
just
in
hang
and
out.
just enjoy the party. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope nobody's planning on driving home, like any kind of distance. Everybody's going
No,
back to the
please
hotel
don't.
that
Yeah.
night because it's gonna
Yeah.
be late. I think Morgan, we sent down a $50 bill, some Narcs Cart shirts and decals for the raffle, just because I figure if somebody's gonna win something, I can throw some gas in the car.
Hmm.
But she was saying there's like 300 raffle items. I mean, just to go through that and like draw
Yeah,
and
I'm honestly not
randomizer.
sure about the logistics.
God.
Tom
Yeah,
has this theory, like he's just like, well, let's just create chaos and then we'll sort out how to do
yeah,
it later. That seems
yeah.
to be his going forward strategy. Just turn it into chaos and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, yep. Justin Chestnut, who's the pilot of the Model A, says hopefully he gets the slowest time helmet. I doubt that. I bet there's going to be some. That's a good segue actually, because I want to talk about the 100 fastest. There's going to be some cars that are in our 15, 16, 17 second time frame that are there for fun, like we are. How did you guys come up with the fastest 100? Get the early registration? Is that kind of I think early on, Tom had talked about the 100, 150. I like the fact that only the first 100 get in, because they had that with Rocky Mountain. There was like 30 open spots available from the teams that are coming in new. So it'll be cool. I mean, that'll open up theoretically 250 spots, unless people kind of show up and do like they're supposed to and have fun, and Tom feels they are eligible to, hey, come back please on this early registration type deal.
Mhm.
So that'll be good for I think growth as far as the new people coming in. But how did you guys come to that designation?
I actually have no idea. That's purely a Tom idea that he just sort of. I found out when you guys did. I think I found it out in one of his videos.
Nice.
But you want to try and keep the event open enough to where new people can become involved and be a part of it. But at the same time, you don't necessarily want to make it a battle of who's got the quickest typing fingers, because that doesn't lead to the best event. If people who have really good shit can't get in because they're a bit too slow on the
Right.
typing. So you got to have a little bit of a balance. Like, you have to have a balance between like getting in the stuff that's going to like make the event a success, and having those top end cards there, along with having like new people. And that's another thing that's cool about having an event in Florida, is like so many of the people we're seeing entered, like I'm not familiar with what they're bringing at all, but it sounds like it'd be really cool. Like, it runs runs 850s, sweet. I didn't know that existed, but it shows up. So yeah, can't wait to see what we see there, what comes out of the woodwork.
Yeah, and I like that we're in Florida in the winter. Tom and Blaine talked about the struggle with that for a lot of these guys that do a lot of these events, is that usually the wintertime they're down. They're like, hey, car's torn apart. We're freshening the motor, all that kind of stuff. And they were like, we're thrashing again, come out of 2.0
Yep.
right into getting the car ready again for SIG Week. So I think it'll be fun. I think there'll be a lot of guys that did 2.0 that are coming to this that may not have as good of luck, because it's kind of that, you thrash for one event a year. Now you're thrashing for 2 and 4 months. I think it's gonna be fun.
Yep. No, definitely. I think we did the right thing by kind of like spreading rumors about the event at race week and at drag week.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a few people realized, oh, maybe I should, pull the motor right now, and maybe I shouldn't switch to that new combo right now. Maybe I'll just delay it for a few months. And I think, with obviously like parts are hard to get and stuff like that at the moment, maybe that's might have actually helped in some ways, because maybe people are like, well, I'll just stick with what I have rather than worrying about parts arriving and stuff like that. And I think we've got more than enough cars put together to turn on a pretty good event.
Yeah, that's for sure. Dude, I appreciate you taking an hour. I know you're busy this week. I'll talk as long as you want to. I just don't want to run you over and you be crunched for time.
All good.
So I guess let's talk about slow cars for a minute, because I've got a thumbnail planned for slowest cars of the week that I catch on film. That'll be like the
Yep.
disclaimer. What are some unique cars that you've seen come through, like the Sick the Mag Facebook page? And if you guys that are watching haven't joined that page, or join that group, definitely do that. Also, be watching Sick the Magazine Facebook page. There's gonna be a ton of updates there too. What are some of the other things, like the slower stuff that we'll be competing with, that you're kind of excited to see? There's a ton of hot rods coming, like legit 30s, 40s hot rods.
A ton of trucks. I think I don't know whether it's because we're in Florida and trucks are the thing to have in Florida. There's a ton of trucks, and we're doing a little bit of experimentation, I guess, with the classes, as you've probably seen. We're going to have the Dial Your Own and Pro Dial Your Own and the Bullseye Challenge, and we're experimenting a little bit and seeing if these will work. If they don't work, we'll change it for next year and come up with something better. But we want to kind of I think the Dial Your Own gives everyone a shot, and it's going to be way more competitive than people think. A lot more pressure on the final day, because you can have a maybe a 200 spread over the first 4 days, but you've still got to nail it on that last day too. Because if your worst runs on that last day and you knock your spread out to 500s, you're gonna just sink down the rankings. The pressure will build through the week, and I think being a busy event, it's just going to be, you're not going to get infinite amounts of runs.
No.
That's pretty clear. We can't run all night at Bradenton at that time of year. The dew will come in. And that's probably something for people to bear in mind. Is to really, if you're going out, some people will go in the class just to run what they run and just whatever their average is for the week, they'll be happy, and others will go to win. And I think to those who are going to win, just playing it very conservatively, just safely, and that's going to be the key, because I don't think you're going to get a zillion runs to try and nail that exact time that you want.
I mean, I would think 2, maybe 3 at the most. Just as what we've seen on race week, 2.0 anyways. Because
I mean, as you run out of time. The first day especially tends to be just a cluster, because people have dropping their shit everywhere, and you've got the most cars of the event will be there on that first day. Everybody is there, nobody's pulled out or anything yet. So that first day, I think really, people should be aiming for a one and done. And if you're lucky, you might get 2, but don't hold your breath, because once the lanes are closed, they're closed, and you might be hanging around at 3 o'clock still waiting because everybody else had the same idea,
and that guy that made us pass at 9 a.m. is like, that's close enough, and then they roll.
Right. They're on the road.
Is it like race week where say we're in DYO, so say we're in, but the guys in the faster classes are you sign up for that class, you're not going to change. Are you able to change classes still by the end of day 1 before you turn your slip in, or what you sign up with now is what you're in?
I'm actually not sure what we're gonna do there. I think for most people they'll be pretty set. Like I don't think
Yeah.
because we're not say having the indexes like at Rocky Mountain Race Week, there won't be
Yeah.
a huge amount of like shuffling. Like I think I would say that most people will probably just settle into a class. I actually don't know whether we're going to allow changing at the end of the day or not.
Nice.
But that'd be a nice question for Tonya and Keith maybe.
Well, I mean, like at the same time, you're 100% right. Like if you're in an 850 class, you're not suddenly going to go to some other class because you're maybe not as competitive as you wanted to be or whatever,
Mhm.
or the pass you made wasn't going to be good enough. Now you need to move to pro DYO.
And and that's probably the type of move that would be fine. Like if you have what you think is going to be a 9-second car and you get there, it turns out to be a 10-second car. Like moving from pro DYO to DYO isn't a huge deal.
Yeah. That's pretty. I like that thought process on that because of the dial your own stuff is really neat. We had attempted to do that with an event of ours, the streetcar shootout later in the year, and it worked out well. Like a random index, it's just a window that you're trying to run in. So at least the cars are close. An 850 car and a 10-second car or 990 car, relatively close in time, but those guys, you're leaving at the same time, obviously, and you're racing down the track at the same time, next to each other ish. And so it helps kind of gather those style cars up. But not everybody's chasing that 850 or that 90 or whatever. So that'll be cool. I thought the Bullseye Challenge, and I probably should have read that a little better. I thought the Bullseye Challenge was kind of an additional daily thing. I didn't think it was its own class. But that's pretty cool. I really enjoy it. You kind of tell people what it is, and then
I think
it's
that's another experimental idea. Just one of those ideas we randomly come up with in the lead up. Say, well, let's give it a try. So I mean, and that is a class for where you're more interested in just a daily competition as opposed to like your whole week long average. And what's cool for that is we're going to have a trophy each day, so you can win on any given day if you're closest to the bullseye. So it's for those who, just, I don't know, maybe they have something and they don't know what it will possibly run, or maybe they want to challenge themselves by trying to hit a mark each day. I think, I'm not sure, like, honestly, we're keen to see how it goes. And, if it works, we'll put it back in next year. If it doesn't, we'll take it out. Like, that's the cool thing about a new event is you can just experiment.
Yeah. And what's really cool is like for folks at home, so you guys will, let's say randomly pick a number and it'll be like 0.37. So that's the example that was given on Facebook, I think. So it's like it may be a 837 or somebody like us that's going to run a 1537. It's still the 37, and then whoever say there's 2 or 3 different people that land on the 0.37. Then it's whoever had the fastest pass of the day. And I think there's some money involved in that too. So that's pretty cool. It's an easy way to pay for some fuel and all that kind of stuff. So so that's pretty. I love stuff like that. I love the. Not okay, you got to run 9.0 index for your class. That's exactly and everybody's chasing this one number. I think that'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be interesting to see. Now, will that be a class that'll be called all on its own? I guess everybody's gonna, for at least round one, everything I think would be called on their own.
So the way we'll be calling classes is it will be done by your safety spec. So basically, if you have a quicker than 850 cage and all that, that'll be the first session.
Nice.
The second session will be, 850 caged cars. So basically anything that can run beneath 10.00 legally. And then the third session will be 10.00 and above. So basically cars without a full roll cage.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And then the fourth. So each of those sessions will be an hour and a half. I can see like the first session with the 850, quicker than 850 cars will maybe be a little bit shorter. It might merge into the other session. But there'll be about an hour and a half each. And then the final session for the day will be an all run. That'll be like, if you mess up your run, that'll be like your last opportunity to come back and have another crack.
That's pretty cool. So, with that, and we're racing in the mornings, right? Like I'm understanding that, right? Like we're 9 to 3 or
9 to 3. Yep.
Yeah. That's going to be different for me too. Cause 2.0, you race, you drive all day and then race at night. Which is interesting. So it'll be fun to see people's plans because, with 2.0, it's like, okay, you have some people that get done at 11 and then they drive for 5 hours to get as close as they can to the next track, hitting the checkpoints and things like that. And then they'll sleep in their car or get a hotel for a couple hours or whatever. And then you have guys like us where I'm like, we've got to get to the hotel. I've got to start editing this video right now. So that'll be kind of nice. I think for every night but one, we're staying at whatever hotels you guys, set up. So that'll be cool to be in the parking lot with 200 other race cars. So I'm sure what my plan was to, get back and edit early, and I'm sure that won't happen. We'll stand in the parking lot, drink beer, and say cuss words.
That's definitely something that's a part of this event is having some different sort of social opportunities, and that's what we're hoping with, on that first day going to Old Town and stuff like that. Maybe people just want to, grab some dinner and have a drink together because you're all in the same spot with a relatively easy drive remaining to your hotel from there. So I think it's just going to be, a neat event from that perspective, just giving everybody the chance to just socialize with each other and just enjoy the scene.
Yeah. And just all the crazy content that's going to come from it. And I mean, we've been talking to YouTubers for days now. And we will talk to them every day this week with the 6 Pods of Sick Week. Like every day is at least a veteran and rookie. And then we've got Adam Dorey and Chad Reynolds who are, announcing gods. So they'll be on Wednesday. So it's going to be fun to see all of the content that starts dropping this week. There's a ton of people that are like Devin Vanderhoof has been doing really good on dropping videos like for his Sick Week trailer build and the car updates and things like that. So it's going to be fun to see all these guys kind of come out of the woodwork. And you know how social works. The more you hashtag Sick Week, the more you hashtag Sick Week 2022, the more Sick Week coverage it shows you. So
yeah, that's right. That's right. So that's really cool. And it's been really neat to sort of just, follow everybody's journeys, and that's like Drag and Drive is like this shared adventure, shared vacation. And that's why, like, I think my mum who lives in Perth, she said, I think I'm getting excited for it, and I'm not even going, like, because she's on the group and she watches all the posts come through, and she's like, I'm not even going to the event, and I can sense the excitement. So that's when social media is at its best, that's what's really cool about it, is you get to have that shared experience with everybody who'll be going and just and getting to share along in their journeys, and then we all get to experience it for real in a week's time.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Jared here's asked, it says, is Old Town just a drive in front of it near the main entrance or down through the middle of Old Town? I think we're taking it over, right?
Yeah, we've got a big car park at the back that we'll be going into. That's the plan. So I had a couple of different routes on the map. I was thinking, maybe do we want to like drive through because there is kind of like a middle bit you can drive through that's like kind of cool because it cuts between the rides and like there's this like downtown area that it has. But then cool. I also don't want to complicate things too much at the time. So often you have to take a lot of the big ideas and simplify them down for the sake of logistics. When you've got 500 people.
You mean because we're a bunch of idiots that'll be are they paper directions or is it a Google map this year?
We'll have paper directions, and what we recommend is that people use the paper directions in conjunction with the Google map route that we'll have. So on Google Maps, the way we've done it is a little bit different. Like you won't be able to do turn by turn with the Google My Maps that we've used, but you'll have like a blue line that you can follow on your phone. So basically keep the dot over the line and you'll be okay. Nice. And then just read the instructions. But most of the drives are relatively simple. We're going through some cool areas. I think day 2 drive is going to be the most complicated one. It's the longest. That's where we're going out from Orlando. We're heading to the coast. We'll be driving up through Daytona. We're driving along the beach. Like a really cool drive. Like that's going to be like just the most awesome thing. Just seeing 500 combined races and sick waters, just like cruising up the coast. Will be just awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to think like so Chris Story has been on before. He was the guy that quit his job to go on Race Week and take photos, and so I love that kind of story stuff. And so I messaged him the other day. I was like, hey man, please get us set up with some kind of mini shoot or something. And then Cole Reynolds is coming, so same thing with him. I'm like, man, we need we need good people to take good pictures of these cars, so especially the Model A. So it's going to be really cool to be driving along the beach and see the backdrop of that and see how photographers turn out with that stuff.
Oh yeah. And that's sort of like, we've told our photographers like that's the iconic image we want someone cruising with the waves from the Atlantic Ocean rolling in behind them. To me, it's like the same as like if you see a shot of Rocky Mountain Race Week and it's the shot of the car disappearing over the hill with the snow-capped mountains.
Yep.
Like that's their iconic image. What we wanted, the waves rolling in. We want a real classic sort of Florida image.
Yeah. So let's talk about weather because from my visits to the Gulf Coast, it tends to rain, not often, but enough that I think. You think we're going to have some maybe afternoon shower, which is typical?
No,
perfect nap time.
No, I think because it's winter and it's we're not in the I guess what you want to call it, the monsoon season, the thunderstorm season.
Nice.
It tends to be pretty dry. So if there is rain at this time of year, it tends to come through in just one big front and then pass through. You don't tend to get the pop-up storms that you get during summer.
Oh, cool.
So the forecast right now looks kind of good. Looks like it's going to be about 70 degrees every day, with very minimal chance of rain by the looks of it. So we'll take that. It's not going to be too hot, not going to be too cold. Should be fairly dry. So yeah,
it's going to be very strange to not be just sweating profusely. And just everybody smells bad at the end of the day, Half-Fast is in Michigan, I think, and it's cold and snowy up there. So, dude, we'll be thinking of you as we're wearing shorts and t-shirts. There's a lot of guys that are coming from the frozen north.
It was 50 degrees here in Tampa yesterday, and everyone was losing their minds about how cold it was. So, yeah, that's if that's the worst you've got to look forward to, then I think we've got it pretty good.
Yeah. Ken said he's keeping the roof down regardless in my rental. He said it's the first time in America. Oh, that's cool, man.
That's right. Driving the convertible, cruising the highways of America, that's a classic. That's a classic thing, right? And that's part of Drag and Drive too, is the ability to have that whole experience. Do the classic American road trip and have an event around it. Like, how cool is that?
And dude, there's a lot of times, I've driven a lot of the area of 2.0, just getting places and things like that, but it's always on the interstate as fast as I can go to get to the next stop. That's what's great. It takes me like 2 or 3 days to kind of wind down. And so that's why I'm excited to get there early. So maybe by Monday, when we start taking off on that first drive, it'll be like, okay, this is cool. And we'll be cruising because, typical speeds, you're 70, 80 miles an hour. And there's going to be some guys that won't be able to do that because of the gearing and trans and things like that.
It's interesting, how we are going to change things up, I guess, between the days, because you got to go from day 3 where you're going through small towns that will be mostly 55, 60 mile an hour roads. But then day 4, when we're getting everybody down to Ocala to the Don Garlett's Museum, we're basically saying, okay, we want you just to get from the track to Ocala as simply and as quickly as possible. So take whichever way you want. For a lot of people, that'll be the interstate. And you better be able to do 80 kind of just sits. If you can sit on 80, you'll probably be okay. But most people are doing 80 or 90 mile an hour down that stretch.
There's going to be people that are going to be mad by the time they get to some of these cars. Because, a lot of guys will just put that in Google Maps and they'll go on, they'll hit the interstate and do 60, and they're going to get their doors blown off from what I hear.
Yeah, Florida drivers are a little bit crazy. They can, I think if you imagine there's you have the slow lane, and then you have the speed limit lane, and then you have the fast lane. But then there's the ultra fast lane, which just weaves in between them all. And that's the 110 mile an hour guys in their beater that you just shake your head as they go by. Whoa.
Yeah, man, I'm glad that car moved out of his way.
That's right.
Ken, tell us where you're at, dude. We got to know. We're excited to have you. Obviously, it's going to be really cool. I'd love to talk to you while you're here for sure. Kind of get your take, from a overseas perspective of the event. So, David said the left lane is for crime.
That's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dirty Panda says he went to sleep with us on YouTube and wakes up with us here. Yeah, this is the earliest one we've ever done. Ken says he's in London. That's pretty cool, man. That's cool. Dude, I appreciate it. I don't know what else I don't want to just keep dragging you on, man.
I think we've done a good job today. I think we've covered off on a bunch.
And I hope you're okay with me getting some selfies while we're down there and maybe picking your brain a little bit day 3, 4, see how you're holding up.
Yep, no worries. That sounds good.
Yeah, we'll find you. All right. guys, for everybody, just so you know, Destroyer 1320 is sponsoring all of the live streams through the whole week. I'm pumped that we picked up that sponsor. I'm excited to see what we can do for him and his products and things like that. So Luke, I'm gonna take you and put you in the backstage. I'm gonna close out with the Destroyer 1320 stuff, and then me and you'll I'll end the broadcast. Me and you'll touch base and exchange phone numbers. Okay, so hang tight, please.
All right, good deal. Thanks, Mike.
Yep. All right, guys. Everybody say bye to Luke over in the chat, wherever the hell it's at. I think it's over there. Maybe I don't know. All right, y'all. I can't thank Luke enough for doing that. Again, can't thank Destroyer 1320 enough for signing up to be our sponsor for all the live streams. Every live we do, if we have service, I've heard service at Bradenton is a little spotty. So if we have to run over and drop all the shorts and stuff across all of our social, my plan is to do 100, 150 videos throughout the week between lives. And, our lives won't be an hour long. They'll be 4 or 5 minutes around cars. 60-second spotlights are coming. I promise 2 or 3 every day on cars. And then, of course, we're live every night, 7 p.m. on this week with tons and tons of drag and drive guests. Adam, Dorey, and Chad Reynolds, who I've said a couple times, are on a couple nights. Daniel Green's on tomorrow night. He just built a car specifically for Sick Week to do this. You know him as Danny Diesel. We got a ton of stuff coming. So I'm going to play the Destroyer 1320 piece, and we're going to get out of here.
Are you tired of worrying about your car when it's parked in the parking lot? You're not around it. You're at dinner. You're at the mall. You're worried about it? Stop being worried about it, man. Go over to www.destroyer1320.com. Get yourself neutral release cover. If you pull this up and you don't see that, go over to destroyer1320.com. Get yourself one of them. Do yourself a favor. Get the latest TDS OBD2 cover. That will stop people from cloning your key. Head over to www.destroyer1320.com now.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to keep editing on that video. I don't like the way it is. I'm going to keep messing with it. If you haven't done it yet, share this out. Please get everybody over to us as they can. We want to change our entire life with this event. So we're going to do it. Guys, see you later. I'm going to talk to Luke for a minute, and then I'm getting back to work.